Hello. I look really scared. Just saw myself in the preview. I look absolutely terrified. Probably because I've just seen Van der Waerden's theorem. This is the aim for today's Chill Maths live stream. As a theorem on Wikipedia that I would like to understand. And it's got a proof. I had a quick look at the proof, realised I didn't understand it just looking at it. So that's the stream. I'm going to try and understand the proof of Van der Waerden's theorem that's on Wikipedia. And I've got a whiteboard open as well, so that ideally I think I'd like to try and sort of draw some diagrams or something. I'll do the history of what's going on with this choice of theorem in a mo. Once we've got some people here. Hello, Herb. How are you doing? Hello, people joining in the Twitch chat live. If you want to play along at home, but today I'm looking at a particular Wikipedia page. Hi, Neutrino. I'll just put the link for you there in chat. It's Van der Waerden's theorem. So story time. I went to a talk by the mathematician Imre Leader. Imre Leader does this really good talk about Van der Waerden's theorem. The talk is just fantastic. Imre proves some versions of Van der Waerden's theorem in this amazing talk. I had a quick look on Wikipedia to try and remember what that was, and proof on Wikipedia doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. The difference, I think, is that when Imre Leader does it, there's lots of diagrams and pictures, and when Wikipedia does it, there's lots of reading. And I found the Imre Leader talk much easier to understand in the time. That was about 10-15 years ago, so I've forgotten how the proof works. Maybe I'll remember by, I don't know, reading it or remembering the talk that I went to. I think Imre is still doing this talk, so if you get the opportunity to see it, you should still go and see it, obviously, even if you've seen the Wikipedia page on this. Hello, Herb. Hello, Mary. Good. Right, okay. That's my history with this. I would say, it inspired me to do a maths degree, and that's why I decided to do a maths degree, but the truth is that I was already doing a maths degree when I saw the talk. So the chronology wouldn't quite work there. I know Imre does this talk for lots of different people. Okay, let's check what that is. That is, okay, good, that is fine. Right, okay. People are revising. Zoe is revising. Hey Zoe, I'm good. Things are kicking off. We're doing the Math live stream at work. I'm doing Van der Waerden's theorem on my chill stream. So just maths everywhere, all different directions. That's probably how it feels revising as well. Wait, yeah, hang on. Does that say 4 exams in one day? That is a bit extreme. How does that even work? Like, what are they, like an hour and a half each? That's mad. Sorry, but... Oh, you're doing every further maths module. I had that a tiny bit. I stayed behind. There was one point where everybody did some particular unit, and then all of my classmates, everybody else left the exam room, and it was just me doing one extra module that I was doing sort of for fun, because my school let me do an extra module for fun, but it did mean that I stayed and did another exam after all of my friends left the exam room. It was quite good at my school, actually, thinking about it, because like the invigilator stayed in the room, even though the enormous exam room turned into just one guy doing an exam on his own. Right, you've got number 2 of everything. Further mechanics 2, further stats 2, further pure 2, and unfurthered decision 2. Yeah, that sounds like quite the day. I don't even know where you prioritise for that. What's the difference? I think different examples, different unit names. You got yeah. Okay, good. Mechanics not on that list. Let us know in chat if you want revision help. Other people have done revision help, right? Normally people just jump in and do, hey, help me out with some revision, and then disappear once we've helped them. Zoe's been here before. Right, okay, but aside from Zoe's mechanics revision, which will be okay, I am going to start trying to learn try to learn Van der Waerden's theorem, which you'll be pleased to know is not mechanics. It's not stats. It's not geometry. It's just numbers and colouring in. What could be better? Here's the theorem. If you give me positive numbers r and k, then I can find some huge number n such that if you colour the integers 1 up to n with each of up to r different colours, then I can find k of them equally spaced along the number line. So it's called arithmetic progression. So the theorem is really fun because the proof, or the standard proof that we're going to look at, the proof involves absolutely enormous numbers. There's a separate challenge to try and find like the correct optimal value of big N that does this, but the proof gets people. The proof just involves these absolutely enormous numbers. Here's some examples. I don't want to focus on this example. So this is a kind of non-example where it's some integers 1 up to 8 and they've been given colours, but there isn't an arithmetic progression. There's this sentence in here on Wikipedia which I think is more close to the kind of truth of what we want to do today, that there's no way of colouring 1 through 9 without creating such a progression. It can be proved by considering examples. There's such sort of Wikipedia phrase. Oh no, Zoe's getting flashbacks to some sort of interview colouring in integers. It seems like such a sort of Wikipedia. It can be proved by considering examples. What does that mean, Wikipedia? What does that mean? Anyway, what we're actually going to prove is that W23, that means if you colour with 2 colours, you can find an arithmetic progression of length 3, equally spaced, 3 numbers that are the same colour. We're going to prove that that number is at most 320 something. The proof's great. It involves these large numbers. If you think 300 is large, wait till you see what W33 involves. Okay, right. Open problem to actually just determine the exact values, because that's not really how this branch of maths normally goes. Numbers, numbers, numbers. Surprise, here's Ron Graham and Ben Green and Timothy Cowers and Power Towers. Yeah, good. Lots of famous, well-known mathematicians. Time to look at this, which I remember this involving kind of a massive... The things I remember from Imre Leader's talk are using the pigeonhole principle so much that the pigeonhole principle seems to be really, really high-powered, and a kind of focusing argument. And I can see the pigeonhole principle is down here, and I can't see any focusing yet, but this is kind of idea that things focus together. Yeah, so pigeonhole, as a reminder, says if you've got 10 slots where a pigeon could live, and you've got 11 pigeons, then at least one pigeonhole contains at least 2 pigeons. Maybe it says more than that as well. If you have at least 20, if you have 21 pigeons, then at least one pigeonhole contains at least 3 pigeons. And if you have 31, then at least one pigeonhole contains 4 pigeons. There's kind of this sequence of statements you can make. Anyway, so I skim read this bit of Wikipedia earlier because I thought, I just want to remember how Van der Waerden's works, but this doesn't help me at all because it's got all these sort of A's and B's and intervals and inequalities, and I don't like it. So my plan is to not understand this for about an hour until maybe I understand it, and we're going to draw some pictures. That is the chill stream. People in chat talking about step, but I think chat separately doesn't like it when I talk about step, so I'm going to try not to join in with that. Okay. The thing that's tricky about this... the thing that's tricky about this... Sorry, that's such a pigeonhole story in chat. Thank you, Zoe. I think about 50 is one more than something. Oh yeah, you got one too many. I've sort of considered it would be more fun to write pigeonhole principle questions where you've got slightly more than one too many. I sort of maybe maybe you heard as I was describing the pigeonhole principle, I wasn't sure whether I should say if you've got 21 pigeons or if I should say if you've got at least 21 pigeons. People usually, I think, say out loud the precise case where you tick over into having to have a pigeonhole that contains 3 pigeons or something like that. You could maybe disguise the problem by saying you've got 35 pigeons and 10 pigeonholes. Well, 35 is bigger than 31. And so you've got 1 pigeonhole that's got 4 pigeons. Anyway, never mind. Okay, right. Let's focus. I think the reason this Wikipedia page is hard to follow is that it starts with the enormous number 325, and you don't really understand where that's come from until much later. And the actual value of the number is not that important. So I'm going to try to ignore the number 325 to start off with. So 65 blocks of 5 each. I'm going to try and draw that. 65 blocks of 5 each. And then since each is coloured either red or blue, each block is coloured in one of 32 different ways. Pigeonhole, there are 2 blocks that are coloured identically. Okay, so let's try and draw that. I have a rectangle, it's not my best work. So what do I want? I want 5, what am I colouring in today? I think I might be colouring in squares. Let's colour squares. Yeah, I could do something like this. So let's have 5 of these next to each other, and then they could be either red or blue, and there are 2 to the 5 ways that this sequence could be coloured. I'm going to go for, I guess I want to fill these in red or blue, so let's go for some of them and colour them in blue, and some of them and colour them in red. And the red ones, to make it a bit clearer, I'm going to go, oh no, that doesn't really help. I was going to say, is there a better choice of red and blue? Is that working for people in chat? Somebody me in chat, red, blue, colourblind. If so, let me know, and I will switch to different colours. Is there something I could do with textures or something? I could write the letter R on them. That's a bit better. 2 things to change if I change my mind about these. Okay, so 65. So in some sense I want to illustrate what it's like to have 65 of these. See, now the R's and B's are too small to read. Less fine. I'm going to go black and white, I think. Don't love it. I'm going to go pink and white. Pink and black. Whatever. Blue and pink would be nice. Yeah, okay, let's go blue and pink. I go quite dark and quite light, so there's a bit of contrast. We're not gendering them, Zoe. Pointlessly gendered. Did somebody say they were XY letter blind? Right, great. Ooh. Okay, but I think part of it is that these might not be the same. So I'll make these kind of purposefully different. I now regret having letters on them, so I'm going to delete the letters. Okay, blocks of 5 and 64 blocks. But at the moment, reading Wikipedia, I don't understand yet why we want 65 of them, or why they're blocks of 5. Right, let's go for the next bit of the argument then. Oh, that's my doorbell. I think my partner's got it. Each is coloured either red or blue, and so there's 32 different ways of doing it. That's true, but I don't quite see why that's relevant yet. There are 2 blocks among the first 33 that are coloured identically. Right, so my illustration should probably try to pull out the fact that there are 2 blocks that are coloured identically. So, okay. So this can be a very long horizontal picture if I'm not careful. He says not being careful at all. So somewhere in here, I'm going to have 2 blocks that are identical. Yeah, I'm just going to make my picture even more wide, horizontal. Because I want to put a kind of dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot, dot. Okay, so the thing I'm illustrating is maybe that somewhere in there are 2 blocks that are identical. Pigeonhole principle, I don't know where they are, but Yeah, okay, so to avoid confusion, I'm going to make some of these different. So that one's not the same. I'm going to also mess up that one so that it's not the same. But there are two in there that are the same. Wow. So those blocks of 5 are the same. Okay. So each block by visual result, there are 2 blocks among the first 33 that are coloured identically. That is, and then Wikipedia brings in loads and loads of letters and numbers. There are 2 integers, b1 and b2, both in the set 0 to 32. That's the number of blocks? No. Both in the set 0 to 32, such that the colour of, they've also got this notation C as a kind of function. The colour of 5b1 plus k is 5b plus 2 plus k for all k and 1 up to 5. Why are the b's in 0 up to 32? I thought we had 65 blocks. Okay, we're just looking at the first 33 blocks at the moment. First 33 blocks. Okay, so 33 blocks. 5. 2 blocks the same. Among the 3 integers, right now, okay, so this is where the Wikipedia page gets confusing for me because it starts referring to other stuff. 5b plus 1, 5b plus 2, and 5b plus 3. There must be at least 2 that are the same colour. That's the pigeonhole principle again. So it's kind of nested pigeonholes within pigeonholes. That's maybe what's really making this difficult. So it's looking here and here, because I think that's my b1 or 5b1 or something. Here and here, those are not monocoloured. Otherwise, I guess that would be, if they are, we're done. There's our arithmetic progression, or equally spaced squares. So if they're all the same colour, then fine, whatever, we're done. So I guess what we're going to say, there are two the same. Oh no, okay, so we're not saying they're all, oh my goodness. We're looking for 2 that are of the same colour within here. So within these 3, find 2 that are the same colour. I guess this again is 2 the same. And over here they are again. Not my best diagram so far. Like here, there are 2 that are the same out of that first 3 of the first block that matches a different block later. Right. Time for something clever? Is it time for something clever? Call these 5b1 plus a1 and 5b1 plus a2. Oh my goodness, so my diagram, a1 is 2 and a2 is 3 or something, but not the first one, but the second and third. Suppose without loss of generality, these are both red. Otherwise, just flip the words red and blue in what follows. For me, blue, and swap pink for red, and swap, oh gosh. Right, here we go. Let A3 be 2A2 minus A1. What? A3 be 2A2 minus A1. Is that so that there's a sequence? I worry that if A2, for me, A1 is the number 2 and A2 is the number 3. So this is going to be 4. Oh, hang on. Is this 6 take away 2 is 8 take away 2 is 6? Oh, this is a machine that makes an arithmetic progression, right? This is so that A1, A2, A3 are in arithmetic progression. I think. So if these things are in arithmetic regression, it's because they have a common difference. Plus D and plus D. Zooming in. Plus D and plus D. If that's the case, then A3, ooh, handwriting, minus A2 is A2 minus A1. So A3 is 2A2 minus A1. Yeah, it's that. Okay, that's where that's come from. This just says follow that progression. If maybe for me the 2 blue things are next to each other, But if they've been apart, then follow that arithmetic progression. Okay, so we can follow the arithmetic progression. Follow the AP or something. So follow the jumps, right? So there's a jump here from A1 to A2, and then go to A3 to look to see where we're going. Boom, boom. Okay, so that would be A3. Okay, and I think I see where this is going. Or we haven't looked yet at the other block that matches, and now we've got some arithmetic progressions. If 5B1 plus A3 is red, we found it. Okay, so if that one matches the two that matched. Oh my goodness. Okay. So in each case, we haven't got to the end yet, but so far we had a large section where we looked at the first kind of half, and we found two matching things inside there, and then we zoomed in and we looked inside there. We had a block of 5, and we looked at roughly the first half, 3, and we said that's just enough that you've got two things that are the same. The first time round on the bigger scale, it was big blocks that are the same, and on the smaller scale, looking in, it's actual squares that are the same colour. You know, long ribbon of squares. Okay, so we assumed we've got actual squares. That's happened twice, is I think the point I want to make. And we had these big blocks, we zoomed in, and we looked at the little squares. Okay. Since A3 is less than or equal to 5, right, so we're inside the same block. We're inside the same block. And then we're going to use the fact that this one is... Okay, so the place we bounce and continue to, when we do this bouncy, look over here. Okay. Might match or it might be different. If it matches, you've got your sequence. If it's different, now look inside the other one, I think. Look over here. So it's going to go blue, blue, pink, and then blue, blue, pink again over here. And then I think I know where it's going to make us look next. Now let B3 be 2B2 minus B1 is continue the arithmetic progression of the B numbers. This thing 2B2 minus B1. Make sure that B1, B2, B3. Those are kind of the positions of the blocks. B3 is less than or equal to 64. There's space for this one as well. Consider the usage of 5B3 plus A3. What colour is it? Right, this is where my illustration is going to help. I hope. 5B3 plus A3 means extend the little arithmetic progression A1, A2, A3, but also extend the big structure of these blocks, that arithmetic progression from large block, jump to a large block, jump to another large block. Might be here or it might not, but let's pretend it's this one. So we're going to look at the enormous arithmetic progression that goes here, and then here, jumping to the second one in this block, and then jumping to here in the kind of equal steps along here. So we've got this idea again of taking two numbers and jumping to the next one. Hello, Moo3141. One of the people who's got some of Pi as part of their username. They just finished prelims. That's first year exams at Oxford. Ah, well done. Hope it went okay. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and work out which one of the students you are. I hope it all went well. Yeah, we're trying to learn Van der Waerdems. We've just got to the kind of punchline bit, actually. So if you hang out for the next 5 minutes, we're about to zoom back out again and get to the kind of idea of what's going on. Because we've convinced ourselves there were two blocks the same, pigeonhole principle, if you have enough blocks. And within those, we found two squares that are the same near the start. And then you can jump from the first square of the first block to the second square of the second block to continue that pattern. And it lands up over here. Or you can look at third square of third block, third square of second block, third square of third block, and end up in the same place. Now, I don't quite understand what's going on here, but there's a point I don't quite understand, which is that the colour of this is got to be one or the other. in my diagram, I've got one of these sequences, blue, blue, and then right. So this is okay, blue, blue, and then I happen to have landed on a pink square over here, and I think it's got to be blue or pink. If it's blue, then I've continued to this sequence that went from a blue block over here to another blue block, because we knew there was a second blue block somewhere in there, in that second block, another blue square somewhere in that second block, focusing over there. Or if it's pink, then that's the kind of alternative colour that we were using here. If this is blue, we'd have been done ages ago by looking at the arithmetic progressions of this block. If it's pink, well then look at the corresponding pink one and then jump further over here to land in the same place over here. So either way, this builds an arithmetic progression with 3 things in it, all the same colour. Okay, I think that's what's going on here. 5b1 plus a1, 5b2 plus a2, 5b3 plus a3. That's jumping from block to block, going from first square to second square to third square. If it's blue, then the third one of each block form a blue arithmetic progression. The way we're done. Okay. Neutrino says, can we keep going already? So keen to just go to the next level, right? And there is more on the Wikipedia page, and Van der Waerden's theorem is true in general. I think it is some massive induction. Yeah, nesting larger blocks, where you consider, now which way around are we going to do this? I think we go to more colours first, before we start looking for longer sequences. Not sure. Gonna find out. Okay, I like this. This illustration is terrible though, so I've got to think about how to do this a bit better. Yeah, so my jumping, why did they make us take 65 then? That's sort of enough space. I guess that's like a bound on how far these huge jumps might go. Really, for the pigeonhole principle, I really want to look at this like 33. 33 is the number of blocks. And yeah, so really I want to look at 33 blocks of 3 squares each. But I have to have space for these arithmetic progressions to continue, which is why I've kind of included, or why Wikipedia has included blocks of 5, so there's space for the kind of jumping within a block, and for that to be something that's repeated. And then making these longer. Yeah, so I didn't want 32 blocks of 3. I kind of, if you could get away with just having 3 squares to do your pigeonhole principle without thinking about where the sequences go, then maybe you would only need 9 of them. But yeah, okay, never mind. So that's why it's 2 to the 5 plus 1 over here. But then it's sort of that times 2 plus 1 to make space for all the kind of continuations of these arithmetic progressions. So there's my 33 blocks over here, contains 2 the same. And then that could take you somewhere really far away. But if I don't care about the number, the kind of, if I don't want to say the number's 325 or something, then maybe I could just look at the blocks of 5 and sort of say there's enough. Yeah, okay, so I think if I were explaining this from scratch, I'd start with the blocks of 5, perhaps? So maybe we'll zoom in and look at a block of 5. I'm going to try and go further and understand the next bit of the Wikipedia article, but first I want to really check I understand this. So blocks of 5, looking for, what are we looking for? Just 2 the same. And you have to have 2 the same when you have 5 blocks of only 2 colours, because they can't all be different. There's only 2 colours and there's 5 blocks. That's the pigeonhole principle. Okay. Right, okay, so it's kind of idea that these different arithmetic progressions land on the same square, which then it can't be both colours, it's got to be one or the other. Either way, it's going to complete a sequence. I don't yet see how to do this for 3 colours at all. You'd have to focus kind of 3 things onto the same square, but I think there is a focusing argument, which I'd like to try and understand next. First, can we work out a phrase for we've seen this idea a couple of times, this idea that you follow the arithmetic regression. You sort of say, well, there exists two things that match, and now go and look at the kind of third one that would be in the arithmetic regression. I want to use that quite a lot. If you prefer to think of it as 2 times the larger minus the smaller, that's where we look, then fine, that's the kind of algebra for it. But I think to get intuition for it, I want to think about it as following the jump one more step. You had a jump from A to B, A1 to A2, and then another jump from A to where? To A3. Okay. So, there's sections in this Wikipedia article go W33, which is a sequence of length 3 with 3 colours, including green, and then general case. And then there's a big section proof, which is probably too hard for me today. But we're making progress. I think I'm understanding more why they say 65 and why they say 5 to allow space for these arithmetic regressions to continue. And even if they fail, then that's part of the thing that matched. Right, okay. W33. How are we doing? Good? Right. So this is terrifying, right? Because this says 7 times 2 to the 3 to the 7 plus 1 times 2 to the times 3 to the power of that-ish. Oh my goodness, 2 to the power of everything over there plus 1, which is a lot. It's quite a large number. It's a lot of 3s multiplied together. Structure here, right? Number 2 times 3 to that plus 1, 2 times 3 to that, all of it plus 1. We've got the word groups in here as well, and then subgroups. Each of these 2 groups. Okay, so this is going to be, you're just scared. It's going to be fine. I think the numbers, I think it's distracting to have the numbers up the front. I think that we should just be saying sort of sufficiently or eventually with some pigeonhole principle to back it up, but not write down the numbers. And then if you follow it through afterwards with some numbers, then maybe we'll understand where these numbers come from at the end. Side note, when you learn analysis, there's lots of proofs where you say if delta is sufficiently small, then epsilon, oh gosh, if I take epsilon sufficiently small, then delta is small enough. And some of the proofs look really scary if somebody says explicitly how small they're going to make epsilon at the start, because they know from their calculations that it's going to work out in the end. It's a bit like this. The person writing this Wikipedia paragraph definitely knows where this is going. We don't yet. We're in the dark because we're still up at the highlighted bit. So we're going to say if we've got some large with a capital L number of integers, I'm going to colour these in red and blue. The kind of correct way is to say like sufficiently, or there exists. Keep it a bit more ambiguous and then fill in the numbers if you have to. I don't correct, whatever. That's why I'm don't win $1,000 off Ron Graham like that. What's this thing up here? $250. No, wait. $1,000 from Ronald Graham if you can prove that this thing is bounded by 2 to the k squared. I don't win that if I'm just saying, oh, I don't know, sufficiently large or something. It's actually false. I'm saying, never mind. Okay. Right. So we're going to divide the integers into a huge number of groups that are massive, but this number of groups has been chosen with that 2 times thing plus 1. No, 3 to the... Seven times 2 times 3 to 7. I should stop trying to understand the structure of these numbers. We're going to get there. So critically, this is something like if you have... I think he didn't claim it from memory. I think he didn't... I think it's cooler if you don't claim it, if the thing turns out to be untrue. There's definitely a Ben Green story. I can't remember if it's that, but there's a Ben Green story where there's money available for proving a conjecture, it might be this. There's money available for proving a conjecture, but the conjecture is stated slightly too strong. That the conjecture, maybe it says for all n, and it's actually maybe the conjecture says something like for all n this is true. Ben Green proves it for all sufficiently large n, which is the interesting case. It's sort of infinitely much work for proving it for sufficiently large n. Leaves the kind of finitely many cases left over as like an exercise for other people to come and tidy that bit up, because who cares? I think that's the coolness. Is that a Ben Green story? If I wrongly attributed this sort of rumour. Anyway. Right. This is not a rumours live stream. This is chill. Okay. Right. How am I going to understand this? I think I'm going to jump in about here. See if I can skip all the big numbers. Let's see if I can jump in here. Two of the subgroups are coloured identically. Within the subgroups, two of the first 4 integers must be the same colour. The first 4 integers, because we've now got 3 colours. So look at the first 4. That's the level I work at. This implies either a red progression or an element of a different colour in the same subgroup. So follow it along within this subgroup. Okay. So there's some sort of like small unit. Let's take this again. Some sort of small unit. Some small unit in which we can guarantee the following sort of thing. The following sort of thing. Arithmetic progression that goes pink, pink, different colour, where there's 2 components there. First is finding 2 squares among the first 4 that are the same colour. Look for same colour. And then the kind of extend the sequence idea, and looking over here, if that's the same colour, then we're done. We found our equally spaced 3 squares that are the same colour. If not, then hey, that's what we've now got. That's what we've now got to deal with. With any block of, I think, 7, you can do this, where you go, let's see if you find something that is, for example, pink, pink, blue. But that might be different for any given block of 7. So you give me 7, I look at the first 4, I spot 2 the same colour, I follow the progression, excited, right? Maybe this is the progression that I found, maybe it fails. We're going to use that technology though, because zoom out. I'm really trying to explain this one the other way around. We did zoom in before, we're going to zoom out now, because zoom out. This has got 7 squares, and there's 3 possibilities for the colour, which means that if I analyse enough of these strings of 7 numbers, if I analyse enough of these, eventually I'll find 2 that are exactly the same. It might take me ages, because I might need to check lots of these strings and then eventually find 2 of these strings of 7 that are exactly the same. That's going to take me a while, because there are 3 to the 7 possibilities for what this string is. So I'll need to go 3 to the 7 plus 1. So out of 3 to the 7 plus 1 blocks, or whatever we're calling these, 2 the same. I've only got space for an exists symbol, sorry. That's a backwards E to me, there exists. 2 exactly the same. So I've got this kind of mission. Look at the blocks of 7, and look at the first 4, oh, there's 2 the same colour, follow it through, doesn't match, rats. Time to look at the next block of 7, but eventually after this, there's only finitely many things that can happen within that block of 7, so on a bigger scale, I can find 2 the same. Right. They themselves kind of form the first 2 bits of an arithmetic sequence, so if I follow it through, I've got to see something different. Right, now, tell me what's going on, because I think I'm slightly out. Oh, that's my 2 times 3 to the 7 plus 1. So I'm going to follow this through, I think. Is this going to be enough? Yeah, I'm going to follow this through and look at so block to somewhere else. Okay, and I've got to copy all of this over there somewhere. No, just a block. So this is some sort of mega structure. The thing about zooming out is I need to adjust the thickness of the pen. Mega structure. Now, in the original problem with just 2 colours, I would now be done because I would look at the third thing in each sequence, and if that agrees, then I've got my sequence. But otherwise, I would look at first, second, third. So in some sense, I'd be looking with real care and consideration at this square here. With 2 colours, we'd now be done, because if I colour that one there, miles away in the mega structure, if I colour it blue, then it forms this sequence like that, and if I colour it pink, then it forms this sequence first, second, third, like that, from the first one of the first block, second one of the second block, third one of the third block. With 3 colours, unfortunately the best I can say is that that's green. Right, time for a quick vote. Is that shade of green kind of different from pink, different from the pink and blue? Maybe not. I'll give that shade of green a go. I can see that that would be quite similar to the shade of pink in terms of saturation. Just going to see if I can make it greener than green. Can I do like bright yellow? Maybe that's worse. I don't know, let me know in chat. It's the third colour. You see, if I've got 2 colours, I'm now done because it has to be one or the other. If I've got 3 colours, then it could be the third colour. In fact, it has to be the third colour if we're avoiding having an arithmetic progression. You know, if I'm very unlucky, it'd be avoiding the arithmetic progression. Green is okay. And Mary says, here we go again. Maybe for colour reasons, or maybe because, yeah, here we go again. What we've got now is little blocks, okay, pink, pink, blue, and then you look much later and you see pink, pink, blue. And this takes a long time. This takes a really long time. The size of the mega structure is, I guess, 2 times 3 to the 7 plus 1 squares long, if you care. I mean, times 7 squares long, because each block, I'm going to put blocks there. I think it's more interesting that it's that many blocks long. Where really I've just taken the kind of length of this and doubled it now, added 1 for this kind of space. Colour reasons, right, okay. But here we go again, because we didn't give up when we found this first sequence of 7 squares. First one, second one. Oh, it could foil us by being the other colour. We zoomed out and we waited for the same thing to happen again, the exact same thing to happen again. And then we jumped to find out what was going on with there. And it foiled us again by picking the third colour. It wasn't the first colour or the second colour, it used the third colour. Here's the plan. We do that lots and lots of times, analysing the first 2 times 3 to 7 plus 1 blocks, which is 7 times as many numbers, and going through each of the numbers, each of the chunks of 7 for the first few, to look to see, oh, where's the arithmetic sequence? Oh, they foiled me again. But finding 2 the same, and then jumping. We do that a huge number of times until we find 2 megastructures that are exactly the same, because the megastructures are finite. The finite amount of space to do this. The jumps can't be that big because the blocks are finite, and there's only finitely many possibilities for what they are. So we found these 2 matching blocks within a finite amount of space. Allow some space for the sequence to continue. This kind of universe of megastructure at some point repeats. At some point we get exactly the same megastructure. But all of this happens again. Everything that's previously happened happens again. Right, we're now at the limits of my zooming out, I think. And now we do one last jump, and here's the focusing. Because we can consider jumping from this green thing here to this green point at the end of the second megastructure. Eventually we find two the same. Takes a long time, maybe, because there's 3 possibilities for each square inside this megastructure. But eventually we're going to hit 2 megastructures the same. We follow the green ones, right? Okay, green to somewhere. But crucially, there are other ways we can get there. We can get there by going green to somewhere that goes to some particular square. Or we can go from the first blue square of the first block. Oh, let's try and get this right. Yeah, we can go from the first blue square of the first block in this megastructure to the second blue square of the... No, from the... Once again, I want to go blue to, and I want to try and convince you it lands at the same place. So blue here to this blue square here to somewhere. And notice how this has gone from the first block to the second block to... Oh, it's going to end up in like the third block of the third megastructure. Which is, yeah, and it's gone from the end to the end, and it'll be at the end of the block within there. And also I can go, and this is going to be tricky to draw, pink. We can go from the very first one of the very first square of the first block of the first megastructure to the second square of the second block of the second megastructure to... That's going to land at... These are all going to land at the third block, the third square of the third block of the third megastructure. All land in the same place. So at that point, that square over there, if it's pink, if it's blue, or if it's green, then we find an arithmetic progression of 3 equally spaced things. Maybe going from megastructure to megastructure to megastructure, first, second, third, or maybe going third, 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 or maybe going first, second, third with the third square of each block. Wow. If there's a fourth colour, then zoom out and do it again. So this is then a way to extend it outwards, to keep zooming out. Maybe you saw this kind of fractal-like structure, or sort of repeated argument, let's say. Fractal's pushing it. But this repeated argument where you just zoom out. You say, okay, they foiled me. The squares didn't work out, so I found 2 matching things to start off with, just on these like 4 squares. I found 2 matching things. Pigeonhole principle had to have 2 matching squares. And then I followed them. And either I win or I'm foiled. But if I'm foiled, I'll just wait for exactly this situation to happen again. This is finite. There are only finitely many possibilities for a block, or whatever you want to call it. I'll just zoom out and wait for that to happen again. And when it does, I will jump between things in this sequence until I hit there. And if it works, we're good. If it foils me, don't worry, that's a finite block. We're just going to finite mega structure block. We're just going to wait for exactly the same thing to happen twice by the pigeonhole principle, and then jump from one to the next, to the third one. So I think we can do 4 colours. If we have 4 colours, I realised right at the start when I zoom in, I need more things at the start, only slightly more. This number 4 in here, right at the start, we started by looking at just 4 squares. Look for the same colours. If we have more colours, we'll need more squares there to get started, finding 2 things the same. Which makes everything larger, but finite. And crucially, the number of times we do this kind of zooming out is... the number of times we zoom out is related to the number of colours. Also, there's lots of powers of 3 in here. There'll be powers of 4 if we have 4 colours. So I guess now we can go back and try and understand this number, right? The 7 here is 2 times 3 plus 1. So it says that's how large the block is, where you look within the first 4 of those, 3 plus 1. You look at the first 4 of those and you find 2 squares that are the same. And then within the block, you need 7 squares to kind of complete that sequence. They might be first and fourth, in which case you go first, fourth, seventh. That's all. Okay, but maybe you get foiled. Maybe that one's a second colour. So you wait for that to happen twice. For that to happen twice, you need 3 to the that many plus 1 of those. 3 to the power of that many squares, because that's how many possibilities there are, plus 1 for pigeonhole reasons. And then kind of 2 times 3 to 7 plus 1 to allow space for the progression to happen. Progression happening there takes you from one to the next to another. Okay, so 7 times that many is how many squares you've got, because those are now made of blocks on the lower structure. So we're kind of taking this product of previous terms of the sequence to actually work out how large things are, which matters because then that might be the third colour. So for the third time, we look at these mega structures and we put that up here. We're looking for 2 mega structures the same. We've got 3 possibilities for each square and quite a lot of squares within that mega structure. 3 to the power of that many. And then add 1 for pigeonhole reasons. Roughly speaking, double it for progression length. And look right there at that kind of focusing point of all of these. And there's the word focus. Okay, don't really understand this Wikipedia paragraph, don't want to read it, but yeah, mega structures. I like that, maybe because I've been thinking about mega sponges for quite a bit recently. I think these kind of structures that are the same as the smallest structures. Got fractals on the mind. It's a really good proof. It's really a theorem. Right, okay. That was just 3-3, but I think we now... I think we now understand that we could do 4 colours as well. Is that the first integer? Yes, we had 2, 3, 3, 3. I reckon we could understand 4, 3. Okay, and then general case. So, double induction, here we go. The proof for 2, 3. Let's see if I can understand this bit. Depends essentially on proving that W32, 2 is less than 33. Oh, right, so 32 colours. Okay, 65 blocks, each of which can be coloured in 32 ways. So if you imagine oh no. Oh no. So if you imagine those, when we had 5 squares in a row. This isn't really how your vision works, but if you imagine each of these different colourings to be, to produce a kind of blended colour where the sequence matters. Forget I said that. If you think about the 32 ways to colour that sequence as a kind of attribute of that block, then, well, an arithmetic progression of length 2 would be 2 blocks that match. So this kind of idea then is that if you want to find a sequence of length 3 using 2 colours, then a critical step of the proof is to look for a sequence of length 2 using 32 colours. And the proof of W33 looks at using, oh my goodness, loads of colours. Is that the number of sort of the length of the kind of megastructure? Look for 2. Sure. It's proving it's less than something because we're trying to bound something or other. Double induction on the number of colours and the length of progression. The theorem is proved in general. Okay. So, I think it's the thing Neutrino said about half an hour ago, nesting these together. You can prove this for larger values of k, which is larger numbers of colours. And then I think the last thing I want to understand, then, and there's some stuff here. Oh my goodness, good luck us. That looks tough. If I wanted to look for a longer arithmetic progression, I think the suggestion is maybe that if I can reduce that to the problem of looking for a shorter arithmetic progression with insanely many different colours, then I'm done. because with an insane number but finite number of different colours, you can do some sort of Van der Waerden stuff that we were just doing to prove that you can find that sequence. So induction then, okay. Quite stressful induction. So if I'm looking, yeah, okay. And I find that hard to imagine generalizing because the thing that we've done is it's so focused on arithmetic progressions of length 3 with this idea you find two things the same and then you do a jump. But that doesn't adapt well to looking for a sequence of length 4 because we've already done, the pigeonhole principle can't give me 3 equal spaced things, right? So then the pigeonhole principle can't give me 3 equally spaced things, but Van der Waerden looking for a sequence of length 3 can. Pigeonhole principle gives you 2 matching things, and then the work we've done to find this sequence of length 3 is to sort of upgrade that to find 3 equally spaced things on some insane, any number of colours. So the proof is going to be something like find me 2, don't know what to call them, superstructures. Find me 2 superstructures where, for Van der Waerden reasons, each of them contains a sequence of length 3, like they're the same colour. Yeah, find the third to last 2. I can't pass that, sorry. Third to last 2. Nope, sorry. Gotta draw. I gotta use my fingers. gotta set it out. So if you relax your vision enough that sort of superstructure thing is just like, that's just one thing that can happen on a long string of squares. And it's not that it'll happen twice, it's that if you think of those as different colours. Yeah, so the thing is reducing W33 down to looking for a sequence of length 2 among an insane number of colours, where those colours are the colours of the previous thing. So how would I do that? If I could reduce this down to, what problem would I reduce this to? Looking for a sequence of length 4. What problem would I reduce it to where a sequence of length 3 in insanely many colours would be good? Well, if the colours were the same meant that there were some structures within there which all focused, then I could do my trick again of looking at the last one and focusing that onto the kind of 4th position, going through these in different directions. The last 2. Yeah, I think the level of abstraction I need is that you need the same thing to happen. You kind of already used the pigeonhole principle idea of 2 things happening. You need one level of abstraction so that, yeah, so you can start looking for this happening lots of times. Let's read what Wikipedia says. Although, am I optimistic? Not sure. It looks very algebraic in the way they've presented it. A is the base point, a d-dimensional arithmetic progression. There are positive step sizes, and the i's range from 0 to L minus 1. Oh, what is this? If it's all the same colour, we're going to say homogeneous now. Okay, not monocoloured. Okay. I1 0 to L minus 1. What are we doing? So this is like with the ability to. Oh, this is a bit latticey. We've got a kind of different step sizes. We've got different. So there's like the squares within the blocks within the megastructure. We've got 3 here, and then we've got 3 here. So there's kind of a step size where you can go stepping stones among the block, or you can go stepping to the next superstructure. Is that all that's going on? Yeah, and L is general because we're now we're not saying how long the sequence is anymore. So L is now a general number in this bit where it says L minus 1. Okay. A d-dimensional arithmetic progression with benefits. What? Oh, some of them can be equal to L. No, I'm not enjoying this presentation. Adding C to the A and B. Sides you tack on ones where the first k i's are equal to L and the remaining i's are less than L. Oh no, what? The boundaries of a d-dimensional arithmetic progression with benefits. I don't enjoy this. Additional arithmetic progressions of a dimension. Oh, I guess. The boundaries to down to 0. Notation. I mean, I've been introducing my notation, like saying mega structures or whatever. This is somebody else's notation. Oh no. Okay, min n to be the least integers such that any assignment of n colours to the interval of length min n or more necessarily contains a margins d-dimensional arithmetic progression benefits. Let's read it and see what they've got to say and try and work out what the idea is, and then reinterpret the idea with what we were doing. Yeah, there's something about Wikipedia proofs. Maybe I should look for a different source. Maybe I should read the paper or something. What are they trying to achieve here? This is so... it's the sort of thing I might say out loud, right? The sides you tack on. You just went to the effort of defining... these terms, and then you're saying the sides you tack on. At once defining lots of very precise notation, but also explaining it quite jauntily. I don't know. Anyway, I don't really want to bound it. I just want to prove that. Well, I guess I want to bound it by. I don't care what you bound it by. I just want to know it's not infinite. Oh, no, everything's going to be phrased in terms of these. Yeah. Okay. So here, the only thing I can see is this m times don't care n to the m, which is the sort of thing we had before with the powers of 3, right? We had 3 to the power of some stuff, and it was also multiplied out the front. Right. Block colouring of k-size blocks. Consider each sequence of k blocks. K blocks find a unique colour. Yep, loads of colours. Good. K blocking. And n colouring. Okay. Oh no. Why did that say 1 over... Does that really say 1 over k? L over k, right? No. What? I haven't read this. K blocking, L colouring. Oh, no. I had a simple aim to understand a Wikipedia. We've hit 3 o'clock. Remember to drink water if you haven't drunk water a day. Remember to look away if you haven't looked away for the last hour or whatever. Remember, hydrate. I'm skimming it. Oh, it's tea time. Yeah. Keeping mathematicians hydrated. It's maybe the only thing this stream achieves. This is not feeling very, very chill. Ray's actually redeemed tea time, which means I actually have to go make a cup of tea. That's an invitation for everyone. Also, this feels like a natural grab break because I'm going mad looking at this. Yeah, this feels like a natural break point. I'm going to quickly run an ad break. Sorry, everyone. Especially Mary. Sort of voted for ad breaks. Was that the sound effect? Did you not get the sound effect? The sound effect's gone again. Oh, no, I don't understand the sound effect. I sort of worry that it might be coming through my speakers and being picked up by my own microphone. Wait, can I add it here? There follows some amount of fumbling. Twitch alerts is active. Audio monitoring, and then I've got all these things. Somebody's good at this sort of thing. Oh, look at all my settings. I think these are all active and on. I haven't done anything with these. They're just part of this. Oh, no, I don't understand. I don't I don't think I have a setting for it, and if I do, I enabled it. Right, enough Twitch rambling. Do you know what? I won't run the ads. I will just leave this as is, and I will mute and turn my camera off. I'll be back in a minute and a half. I'm going to go make a cup of tea and leave you with whatever Wikipedia is doing for a minute and a half. BRB. What's going on in chat? No adverts for razors. Oh, chat! I like the chat's kind of keep still going. Oh, and Herb didn't have to buy a BMW this week. Oh, there you go. Good. We're back. I'm in trouble. So did our food shop instead of buying 2 onions, I have purchased 2 kilos of onions. Hooray! I'm now the proud owner of 14 onions. So if anybody's got suggestions for what to do with a dozen onions, 12 of them, suggestions, welcome. I think you probably can have too many onions, and I think I might be living proof of that. It's a lot. Tea's good. If anybody else made tea, let us know in chat. If Mary's redemption on the Twitch channel has that kind of control over your life, then that would be good. Herb out of the top rope with Octonians. That's excellent. Off the top rope. No. Oh dear. Can I give Herb points? I can't work it out. Oh no, we checked this. I can't donate you channel points. It's not allowed. Right. I'm not going to read this. In formulas, : Nobody talks like this. Who talks like this? In formulas. If if this has the same colour as this, the thing about Wikipedia is that I could look up who wrote this, which feels really mean. That I'm being grumpy, but I'm trying not to direct my grump too much at the brilliant people who edit Wikipedia pages. If I feel like I could do better, then I should edit it, right? Which would require me to understand it or know a proof of Van der Verden. Right. Is there a funny way to make some sort of chutney that also represents the Octonians? I mean, the Octonians are represented by the number O. And there's a cool diagram on here. Right. In the thioplane, which is the same thing that you use for Dobble. How much of this can I do with onions? I suppose I only have to make a subset of them because my onions are just a subset of Octonians. Ooh, what is this trying to tell me? A mnemonic visualization. Do your mnemonics look like this? If not, here's one. It could be a mnemonic for you. Showing the 7 triads. It's pretty-ish. Good, right, okay. I'll do for Octonians now. Do you ever take a joke too far? Yeah, I think it was a 3D mnemonic to help us remember some relationships between triples of number systems. Anyway, benefits for automatic. Just add on another point of whatever colour. It does feel like a higher dimensional version of the thing we were doing. That they're talking. I mean, I was thinking of that geometrically in a way that to say extending lots of different directions and lots of different dimensions. I'm vaguely aware that Ramsey theory does go to higher dimensions and do extra stuff in Hale-Stewart thing, right? This is the branch of maths that tells you about tic-tac-toe not being a draw in arbitrary numbers of dimensions. The sort of branch of maths that's all about looking at that sort of structure. So this is saying lots of stuff that we were saying out loud before about leaving space for the arithmetic progression. Going along the line inside the k-dimensional boundary which ends right on the p-dimensional boundary. I'm just never going to understand this. No chance. But maybe I can get the kind of core idea out of it and then reinterpret it. That's what I want. I'm never going to understand it line by line, right? The trap is that I spend the next 45 minutes of my life just rereading it line by line, trying to understand bits of it. What I should be thinking about is this kind of core idea to go from looking for a sequence of length 4 to a sequence of length 3. So, to try and find that, I'm going to try to work out what capital D, lowercase d, whatever, what these things are supposed to be if I'm looking for an arithmetic progression of length 4. Or maybe even looking for something of length 3. Excuse me. So what if I'm looking for, what if L is 3? Okay, I'm going to try and do a sort of split screen thing. This is going to take up loads of, it's going to be a little bit clumsy, but I'm going to do a little sort of split screen. I bet Windows has some shortcut for doing this really quickly for me. I'm not going to work out. Yeah, it's probably something like this, right? Oh no, that was a disaster. Didn't enjoy that at all. Okay, split screen. there's the art the stream made. Chose the colour scheme for it and everything. Mega structure, right, good. Okay, so add some space. Okay, so I can read along the Wikipedia page now, while also taking my own notes. So L equals 3 would give me this sequence, A plus... So I'm imagining that picture we had before of the blocks and the superstructures. So L equals 3, 0 to 2. So A plus 0 to step 1. Plus, and there's any number of these. So some number like this, I'm being very lazy. 0, 1 or 2, up to step 2. So these are my my different. I had inside here, I had some steps like this. Step 1, and from my block to the next one, there's kind of an S2 step like that. So and then the punchline was that we would look at, so I think maybe D was 2. So it's kind of a two-dimensional thing. I'm trying to work out the numbers for the thing we were previously looking at, and then I'm going to try increasing all the numbers by 1 and see if I understand it. Or keep the numbers at this to see if I understand it. Okay. So, right, I've just seen this index value LLLLLL, which would be for me 33333, which reminds me of when we were looking at the third square of the third block of the third megastructure, which I suppose in this new kind of notation, the third megastructure, it's not perfect, is it? So for like the next one, you could go, right, so then the boundary is the kind of left out stuff. Boundary is the ones where you go to put the number 3 in. So maybe I only want my opponent as soon as the win. Sometimes you just gotta know when to take it. D-dimensional. So maybe I only want to think about L equals 2. For the length. It's weird that it goes 0 to L minus 1, but then you end up with something of length L? Maybe? Can't guess. Can't guess. I think maybe I want to, yeah, so I want to consider maybe these to be the kind of 0 or 1, and then this is kind of boundary, 0, 1, boundary. And then over here would be if you added not 1 of the big jumps, but 2 of the big jumps, which is kind of this boundary thing. So I think I want to actually maybe consider L equals 2, D equals 2. To be kind of description of this structure that we had before, where we found these blocks, and then we jumped to a mega structure. Quick check that that's what we had before. Where's my picture? Oh, the picture's huge. The picture is weirdly huge. Not quite. Maybe. So we had this, and then we went to this kind of boundary, and we asked questions about it, and then we went to this kind of boundary, and we went over to the third square of the third one, which here would be something like L equals 2 for the index here being 2 if you jump twice the small amount and twice by the large amount. So we're looking at these sequences: A plus 2s1, A plus 2s1 plus s2, A plus 2s1 plus s3, 2s3. That's an arithmetic progression. And we were also looking at the arithmetic progression A plus s1, A plus s2, A plus 2s1 plus 2s2. And we looked at the arithmetic progression that went A plus S1. I'm not quite there. I'm not quite there. Now we're all jumping from superstructure to superstructure. And you could jump from the middle of a block to the middle to the end, or you could stay at the end of the block. Picture again, because I drew these 3 different ways of jumping, and I'm trying to make them into this kind of algebra to try and understand the Wikipedia stuff. So that's A plus 2S1, and it jumps to A plus S2 plus 2S1, and that one. That seems like the easiest one to understand. It's this first thing that I wrote down, where you're at the end of a block and you jump through the superstructures. But I also had this idea that you could be already over there and then jump. So what's that? Don't know. S1, S2. Oh, I have got a third sort of jump. So I've got S1 jumping 2 squares, I've got S2 jumping some massive number of blocks, and I've got an S3 jumping a huge amount of squares for the megastructure. Maybe I do want this S3 idea in here. Changed my mind, maybe D is 3. And then these could be, you are at the end of a block, and you're at the end of this structure, and you're jumping from S3 to like this to 2S3. That's an S2, and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Right, something like this, where the jump size is sort of, there's different ways to end up over here, where you were jumping the S3 kind of size jumps, or doing S2 size jumps. If I add S3 to these. S3 doing S2 size jumps? Not sure. Okay, I don't think I've visualized this well. Deleting my sequences. Let's read on and see if we can find out. So now I've got a question. Where are these sequences? The ones that are supposed to be focused, what are they focusing on? And I'm going to skip all the stuff about homogeneous sequences with benefits. Maybe to my doom. I don't know. Oh, no. No, I stand no chance of understanding this unless I read their notation of what they're talking about. I can maybe look at these equations. If this has the same colour as that, what is that doing? Then you can jump. Okay, fine, I'll read their definitions again. I don't love this. Some of the indices can be equal to L. Are they or not? Side you tack on. Okay, let's pick this. Ones where the first k i's are equal to L, and the remaining i's are less than L. This is my way of sort of completing the sequences. Yes, the proof I heard years ago, I think might have just been for 3 colours, and it's very visual. I think it might have been this thing we drew with the blocks and big jumps, these big curved arrows. I tried to remember Imre Leader drawing this years ago on the board. I'm not sure if Imre formalised or did the thing with longer arithmetic progressions. I'm not sure that's in the thing. I'm not sure I've seen it before. None of this seems familiar. Maybe it was and I've forgotten it. But this seems really different from anything I've done before. So now it's just the sort of challenge of understanding. And I feel like we were, maybe not close, but the core idea that you can look for a shorter sequence using lots of colours, which is somewhere in here, but I'm not getting it. Define the quantity min and L T n to be the least integers so that any assignment of n colours to an interval of length that necessarily contains a homogeneous d-dimensional arithmetic progression with benefits. Which means that some of these ends, some of the places you're pointing out with arithmetic progressions are in fact then also, you can go there. Contains homogeneous, and they're the same colour. Homogeneous. All the same colour. So also there are some extra points that are the same colour. They feel like, those extra points feel like they would be the sequence. So maybe we're looking for a longer sequence than that. We're allowed to tack on these points L, but we're going to say homogeneous. You can force it to be sort of homogeneous. And this min n concept is looking for a homogeneous d-dimensional arithmetic progression with benefits, where the homogeneous d-dimensional arithmetic progression with benefit means lots of numbers with some structure and some things where you've got a sequence of length L plus 1, and the homogeneous bit means they're all the same colour. So found already as part of this for min LDN, lots of different sequences of length L plus 1. So it's weird. Maybe we're looking for a sequence of length L plus 2 now. Bound the size. 2 induction steps as follows. Okay, and it says you can increase D, the number of dimensions, which I haven't really understood the relationship between number of dimensions and concepts way back like R and K, right? The number of the length of the sequence I'm actually looking for, which I think feels a bit more like L, and the number of colours I've got, which I accept is going to be some hideous, absolutely monstrous. It's going to be involved in some big power tower sort of thing. Okay, so increasing the dimension to D plus 1 is less than or equal to M times min and then this thing. So this is going to be a bit like the expanding out to a superstructure argument. So I would think of that as saying you've got one more level of superstructure, which I was thinking about as being that would let you get one more colour involved. But I suppose, what's a colour? Maybe I don't mean the original colours. Maybe this capital D is not quite the original number of colours in the problem. Maybe it's along the way we might be thinking about the number of ways to colour a block or something. Right, okay, and now here's the block colouring. So maybe this bit is just telling me to go to a superstructure, right? Call this K blocking and N colouring. Oh gosh. Call this K blocking and N colouring. It's just such a, what a sentence. Each sequence of K colours and each K block to find a unique colour. Okay. K blocking as a verb and N colouring of length L. Call this K blocking and N colouring. Okay. And then K blocking and N colouring. No, what? K blocking and N colouring. The blocks have a certain number of possibilities of how to colour them. being this is like the hardest to pass thing I've ever read. Brilliant. I actually think that might be I over K with a capital I, but don't know. It sure looks like a lowercase l, but not in italics. Was it a 1? Oh, I don't know. Let's not overthink it. Given an n colouring at a big interval of size, it says massive size, you can m block it. I just don't like there being a verb. Into n to the m colouring of length this. You can find a one-dimensional arithmetic sequence with benefits of length L in the block colouring. Okay, but this is going to be some focusing. There's going to be some focusing in here, which is a sequence of blocks equally spaced, which are all the same block colour. You have a bunch of blocks of length m in the original sequence, which are equally spaced, which have the exact same sequence of colours inside. Okay, so considering that these blocks are of length m, okay, definition of m, why did you define m? Up here, let m be this. You can find a d-dimensional arithmetic sequence with benefits inside any one of those blocks. Since all of the blocks have the same sequence of colours, the same d-dimensional arithmetic progression. Okay, so this is describing the superstructure, the move to the superstructure thing that we had. I don't get the use of the phrase k-blocking and n-colouring and what RHM really is, but hey, you can go to n. So if you've got n colours and you need large M of them for something to happen, then if you look at n to the m, there are n to the m possibilities of what a string of m of those might do. So if you look at m times n to the m numbers, then that's enough chunks of size big M for the thing to happen in all of them. And if you look at n to the m of these, I think if you look at n to the m, 2 times n to the m plus 1 or something of them, then it'll happen twice. Do I want it to happen twice? Okay, translating by block to block. This is the definition of a d+1 dimensional arithmetic progression. You gain a dimension in the sense that you gain another way to translate. The dimensions, they're saying dimensions, but they mean different ways to shift the kind of like lattice structure, or almost the different jumps that you could do in this kind of structure. The new stride parameter. Oh, there you go. So they're calling it SD+1. Good. Distance between the blocks. Instead of just jumping between numbers or blocks, you can now jump this extra distance. You went larger. You had to go to a huge number of places to find you have to go to a huge number to find it happening. Why is there no? So there's no 2 plus, because we're not actually looking for the continuation here. We're looking for 1. It's 2 close brackets on this. Sometimes I'm just petty. You need benefits. You need the boundaries. They're all old boundaries plus their translations into identical coloured blocks. Because, oh gosh, these things, you're not striding that far. Boundaries, there's the 0-dimensional point where you go, all of these, single point is automatically homogeneous. Automatically homogeneous. I'm definitely falling down the rabbit hole of trying to understand it line by line. Okay, one more time at this. What's M? Just 1 in here. Just dimension 1. Min n. L1 n to the m. Right, okay. So before, this bit here, we had some pigeonhole argument to say before, if you're looking for, like, if you're dealing with shorter arithmetic progressions, if the number L here is 2, and you're looking for a nice normal arithmetic progression, which just means a jump, length 1, you don't care about that, it just means 2 the same. And the pigeonhole principle says you can find 2 things the same, doesn't worry about structure at all, you can find 2 things the same if you've got deep breath, number of possibilities of what the things are, no. You can find 2 things the same if, well, how many possibilities are there? Take that many plus 1. And maybe this min n concept is trying to include this kind of double it and add 1 idea that there might be space for the arithmetic progression to continue. Min n. So, homogeneous d-dimensional arithmetic progression with benefits, maybe. Right, yeah, it's the van der Waerden sort of thing, right. So, okay, so with the number 1 in here, is this just the van der Waerden kind of structure that we're looking for, is to find an arithmetic progression? So normal arithmetic progression would have d equals 1, just one sort of jump. We're not greedy with van der Waerden, that's all we want. Base case, no. Yeah, this. Van der Waerden theorem is this with dimension 1. Okay, I'm getting there. Dimension 1 is like a normal arithmetic progression, and having a long length on that is the van der Waerden problem. So this function here is trying to express that what you really need is a huge block such that van der Waerden says even if you have n to the power of m colours, you can find a normal arithmetic progression of length L. So before, we were taking enough, there was sort of like 2 times 3 to the plus 1, which we thought that function is quite large. The function itself, 2 times 3 to the plus 1, that's long enough that we'll get 2 the same and space for the progression. This is replacing that with a van der Waerden thing, where you believe that even if you've got lots of colours, you can find a sequence of length L. Right, so the induction, if I'm inducting on L, if my dream is to find a sequence of length 4, then I take all the stuff we were doing about van der Waerden with length 3, and I use that repeatedly, each time I iterate. So when I drew that big superstructure picture and I identified there are 2 the same, that eventually happens to have 2 the same. The only thing we're changing is that van der Waerden gives us 3 the same with equal spacing. 3 the same with equal spacing feels like it should never happen, but that's van der Waerden for a sequence length 3. So when I zoom out to my superstructure, I'm allowed to label 3 massive superstructures, all the same, equally spaced, by van der Waerden on an insane number of colours. The number of colours is whatever was going on inside one of them. However long it took you to find one object like this, there's only finitely many possibilities, right, for what you could do inside there. Consider that to be a colour, and then wait for 3 of those, the same colour, to appear. Oh my goodness. Okay, diagram. Bring this up. So, key idea to get this to sequences of length 4. The bit we're going to beef up is the idea that finding this megastructure and then finding another megastructure that's the same, pigeonhole principle, we're going to beef that up to replace pigeonhole principle with van der Waerden for length 3. That would let me draw a version of this picture where there were 3 things equally spaced by van der Waerden, using the idea that this entire megastructure between the double lines it's really long, the megastructure. Green and blue and pink squares all the way along. It's enormous. I would like 3 of those. And it's not just thinking about the 3 to the 7 or whatever it is, possibilities for... It's not just thinking about the 3 to the power of whatever's going on inside there, for the number of possibilities of what it is. It's thinking about that as, yeah, that as the kind of number of colours for a block of this length. An enormous megastructure of this length has some sort of attribute to do with all of the colouring in that's happened within this enormous megastructure. But if you reduce that down, you're thinking, well, this huge thing I've got, it's a really complicated, pretty picture. And maybe this one will never happen again, but there's only finitely many colours or pictures for what this huge megastructure could be. And Van der Waerden on that many colours, which is ridiculous to think about, because Van der Waerden on that many colours for a sequence of length 3 involves that many times zooming out. Zooming out that many times, where the number of times we're zooming out is an enormous number, and that's the number of times we're going to apply the function, which is something like a power of that many to consider all the possibilities. It's sort of Van der Waerden. We're sort of plugging the function into itself. This is how you make huge numbers. This is how you make really huge numbers. Okay, so this has got some sort of colour, where the colour is the sequence of what's going on with the squares. Not only will that colour, will there be 2 that are the same colour eventually, because the block's finite. It's only finitely many colours, so there'll be 2 the same. Pigeon principle. Not only will there be 2 the same colour, eventually there will be 3 the same colour and equally spaced. In each of those massive structures, you can say, we found the sequence. Like this, but it's 4 of us and use this other colour. And then you zoom out and you jump. And I think doing the jumps you can focus again. And that's where you want to end up. To focus through all of these megastructures that are equally spaced. To look at the kind of 4th position of the 4th one. That's probably as much as I'm going to understand it, I think. The idea that you have this megastructure. That's the number of colours. And Van der Waerden lets you find 3 megastructures equally spaced that are exactly the same. That's mad. Back to the Wikipedia quickly. Okay, having excitedly talked myself into it a bit, I'm going to have another look at this. So, finding a big sequence where you've got that many possibilities, those are the colours, n to the m, because m is the length of like a megastructure or whatever. N possibilities for each square inside, and say n to the n possibilities. Those are different colours. Van der Waerden tells us eventually you can find a sequence of length L, all exactly the same. And that'll take you a while. Van der Waerden says that many, and actually, if you remember, each of these things is actually built of lots of tiny squares. You've got to multiply by m. Okay, and then this gives you something like d plus 1. So this should tell me. Oh, this is just trying to find the arithmetic progression with a higher dimension, which then I'm happy with because I'm happy with this, I guess, because it's just a new sort of stride length. I haven't fully got to grips with this kind of focusing idea into the end, but I like this idea that you've got another stride length. That's the only thing I'm going to take away from this block of stuff. You've got this kind of colouring, larger thing, Van der Waerden sort of idea to find several the same. I guess L the same. And, okay, maybe not the same, whatever. And then I don't understand these with benefits. Where were these benefits ones? Some of them, the first K. for some K. What's K? Not the original K, probably. The first K of these are equal to L. Right, because in Van der Veden we find lots of things that are the same colour, meaning these blocks are the same or these superstructures are the same. And then we look at kind of the next one to try to continue the pattern. So there must be a point here which tells me to look at, this. So homogeneous. Where am I going to look? Eventually this must boil down to looking for an actual sequence. Okay, last bit. All possible dimensions D, which you've done by induction. Okay, so you convince me you can find anything like D. You bound this with like L plus 1 because what is this? L plus 1 is less than or equal to twice if you're looking for a shorter sequence, but lots of dimensions. So what's this? We're battling with confusing descriptions, lots of terminology, and some formulas where I would prefer pictures. Okay, I think I'm losing everyone. I think I've lost myself. That's chill maths. But now the number of benefits boundaries, now this time in quote marks, equal to the number of colours. Have the same colour as another one of the homogeneous benefit boundaries. Yeah, lost. Yeah, hi neutrino. Yeah. It's the introduction of all these extra new things like min-n. More functions with 3 inputs, right? I don't think we really wanted. It's kind of wrapped up the ideas around in really, I guess, precise notation that tells you exactly where to look, but including the terminal point. I think it's just like looking at my green points and jumping through my green points. Terminal point of the p-dimensional boundary. Oh my goodness. We're chilling. We're chill. Sometimes I wonder what on earth I'm doing. Like I'm reading this and I'm very lost and confused. And then I also remember that I'm doing a Twitch stream. And that is quite incongruous as well. But I think it's good for me. Yeah, no. Walking along these, if A has the same colour as that, then this plus Q, where you each of these seems dimension 1 is just a sequence. Whatever colour. Oh, I don't like this. Longer by the maximum possible value of the stride, certainly less than the interval stride. Doubling will work. So this is the focusing bit, I think, where we're going maybe twice as far. To say, actually, if you go a little bit, if you look a little bit further, then you will find something which, a little bit further, it might only be an arithmetic progression of dimension 1. We've introduced the idea of dimension for the different sorts of step size that you can do between numbers, but also blocks and integers. Don't really care about that in the end. I just want to find an arithmetic progression. This says you okay, you can find one of those. If you have, so then I'm going to look over here, n dimensions and n colours. N dimensions and n colours. If you've finally gone to have n different sorts of step size, like with my jumping within the blocks, jumping between the blocks, and jumping between megastructures, that was what let me find a slightly longer sequence before. Twice as much. twice as much. And there's, throughout all this, there's been this idea that things are homogeneous, they're all the same colour. So, what? I guess for Minan you actually found it or something. Anyway, I think L+1. This also reads a lot like the first thing that we did, where we looked at the very smallest. Here's a row of little squares, and there are n+1 of them, where n is the number of colours. Is that what's going on? Same colour as another one of them. I just really am not getting to grips with this phrase, homogeneous benefit boundaries. Benefit? Like extra? Bonus? L+1 arithmetic sequence of dimension 1 to be constructed going along a line inside the boundary. Inside the boundary. We've added lots of L's. What's this one? S D minus K. Say the order dimension P less than K. Let's try D minus K. Why would there be D minus K? D's in the raw dimensions. Why would D minus K have anything to do with it? In formulas, if this has the same colour as that, right, these are two different. You've gone along. I think this is where I should be thinking back to those things I tried to write down with plus 2 times S1 plus 2 times S2, right? I was looking for these different arithmetic progressions. And all of these have the same colour. Sequence to dimension 1 and the benefits are automatic. I don't want any benefits for a sequence to length 1, do I? My benefits being just a point of whatever colour. Whatever colour. It's not like we're trying to prove anything particular about the colours, right? So this boundary point has to make the interval longer. There's something really garbled about this that I'm not getting at all. Oh, Wikipedia. How I love to battle with what is written on you. I think I've said it before, but when I was younger, most of Wikipedia didn't make any sense. As I've got older, Wikipedia's been rewritten and rewritten, of course. And it's started to make more sense. But also, I've learnt more maths, which tries to get me to understand more and more. I think this is doing a kind of choosing which one to look at. In some sense, they've got lots of these blocks or megastructures or whatever that are the same, and they're looking carefully within them to find some sequence. Wikipedia's getting better. I'm trying to get better as well. I guess which way around I'm going to draw it. My ability is trying to come up. Wikipedia's complexity or incomprehensibility is coming down. Maybe we can sort of meet in the middle. Or sort of, we've met in the middle of this Wikipedia page where I was happy up to about here. Hello, hello, and you followed as well. Hello, we're doing maths on Twitch. We've got a really tricky Wikipedia page. We understood the first half. Wow, it was fine. Drew loads of cool pictures as well. Then we tried to understand the second half of the Wikipedia page, and we're having no luck. Positron dx. It's pretty cool. Is that like dx like with respect to x? Okay. Right, okay, I'm going to break out and I'm going to look at my diagrams again. Good. Physics and maths. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Where are we at? On follow count? Oh, 184. We're so close to our nice square target of 196. I don't have plans. What am I going to do when we hit the target that we've had for so long? What is the next goal? I think the next goal's got to be... I suppose the next goal's got to be like Van der Verden, like this 325 or something from this VDW proof. Let's stitch these back together. Ooh. There's a 325 in here somewhere. Yeah, we already have a neutrino, and now we have a positron. I can't remember if those two things go together or not. Let's assume they do. Good. So, I've got about 5 minutes on the stream before I'm going to call it a day, I think. What was this trying to do? So I'm going to try and write down my big jumping sequences in terms of this new notation that we made up, which I don't really love, but hey. So this pink sequence goes from A, it goes to A, but then it jumps to the second block. No, there's a jump where it goes from within the block, it jumps by S1, because we're now pointing at this second thing over here, but it also jumps to the second block and to the second megastructure. It kind of goes 2 squares along, and this sort of dot dot dot, and this huge leap. Okay. And then the next one would be if you did that again. So this is the ones where I happen to have painted the first couple pink, and then there's this question of the last one. And then there's this sequence of going from blue to over here. We're looking at, so still 2s1, but jumping by s2 and s3. And then if we did that again, we'd get to 2s2 plus 2s3, which is the same point. And then there's the sequence looking at the green ones where I started at jumping by s1 twice to look at the kind of sequence here, and 2s2 for doing this kind of big leap twice. This is s2. This tiny one is s1. This huge one, huge leap from megastructure to megastructure is s3, and then jump that to do that sort of jump twice. Okay, so these are the kind of 3 sequences which end up at the same place. And the punchline back here was, well, you've only got 3 colours, so something's got to give. Which didn't really. Can I rephrase that in a helpful way? Yeah, maybe. Something like we have these sequences of length 2. So these are the boundaries then, where is this LLL point is this thing with all the +2s in it. That's at the end of all of these. And the other things we've got, I've got lots of 2s at the front, maybe 1 or 2, kind of here. These things with coefficient 2, and then they're stepping through the rest. In this case, stepping through all the rest. Those are the things in this bit of the proof down here. Lots of L's up to some in place, and then this one's also got lots of L's, some other length of how many L's you've got. And then what's this? So lots of L's of a lesser or greater number, and then stepping along. Yeah, it's sort of Wikipedia. There are other attempts. It's quite hard because when you're writing an explanation, you can't write it for everyone. You can't. A good explanation takes into consideration what the person you're talking to already knows, and maybe some stuff about how they like to understand things. So it's kind of one size fits all, which Wikipedia kind of has to be. Sort of can't work in general. And then there's a separate question about what the best thing it could do might be, which is different, right? So Explainopedia might need more steps or fewer. I think the ideal thing for Math Explainopedia would be if, I don't know, if you could click on something and it expanded it to explain why that's true. Now that I say that, it's quite tempting to think about that being a kind of AI feature, but it's also got to also be spot on accurate all the time. Otherwise, well, can you say that Wikipedia is spot on accurate all the time? No, you can't. Ooh, yeah, you got to like expand, right? To be like, I don't understand. Give me a paragraph to explain that. That does sound like an AI thing, though, doesn't it? I've upset myself. Right, let's think about this sequence. What's this sequence is describing then? Adding on all of the rest going marching 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to L. For me, that's 0, 1, 2. So all the rest. If two of these are the same colour, then start marching all the rest. All the rest are the same colour. Because you're stepping through things where these are the same, you're jumping to other parallel megastructures or something. So it follows that all of these will be the same colour. That sameness will continue in all of the parallel universes or whatever you've got next to each other. And you can add that up in lots of different ways, or just you step through all of them. And you will always end up at that kind of focus point at the end. A sequence of length L plus 1. Those are all the same colour in this paragraph, which is like the opposite side of a proof by contradiction or something. The proof is almost a bit more constructive in a way, that it's told me you found this sequence of length L plus 1. Along the boundary. I've been thinking of these as going from like the start point, these sequences. It's PowerPoint nerds need to create each other. Wikipedia. So this is like the U equals 0, 1, 2 going through the rest of them. Oh, okay. So if you could be 0. Okay, you could be pinky, you could be 0 or something. If two of these are the same colour, then you can then whip through the rest of the parallel universes until you end up at the end point. Through the boundaries on the end. These ones I've done in the other colour. You can't escape. They're all the same. So so it's like doing the number of colours thing last rather than first. Just the other way around to how I was thinking about it. There's all these different directions you can go. Okay, I'm not there, but I'm going to call it a day, I think. We're really close, I think, to, well, at least me trying to understand how Van der Waerden's theorem works. But I'm going to call it a day, I think. Thanks for joining me. Nice to see you again. Hope you all have a nice weekend. Thanks for joining Positron DX. Maybe see you around another one of these. Calendar check. What am I doing? It's going to be open days quite soon. If anybody's coming to an open day, then gosh, I'll see you at the open day. But I've got a feeling that this is kind of the year 13s and up. I've got a feeling these are the people who are doing that live stream and have now migrated over here in year 13. So if you're a year 12 when you're coming to the open day, we'll see the open day, I suppose. If you've graduated beyond that, then maybe I'll see you around. If that student who has done prelims, it's going to be 13 and upwards, right? Chill Maths includes people a year. Chill Maths is here for everyone. Right. Yeah. Open days can be really busy. I wouldn't recommend it if you don't need to be there. So I'll see maybe some of you at an open day or on that live stream if anybody's still into that sort of thing. Otherwise, take care. I think I'm live again in my normal slot next week. Maybe not Van der Waerden again next week. I might go and think about this on my own at some point, not on Twitch. If you want something to look at in between, that Wikipedia page, I guess. It's probably got some citations that I should have looked at instead. But yeah, best of luck with whatever maths you're thinking about over the next 7 days. What a sign off. Bye.